We have a big name on the line. Always very exciting when we can say, good morning, Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Good morning, sir.
How are you?
I'm good. This is weird because I watch you every day. And so, yeah. But can I just...
Well, thank you. I'm glad you do.
You just called the reference already because you know what it's like to deal with the breaking news every 9 seconds in the jobs we try to do. So the appeals court has rejected Trump's appeal of the House Oversight Committee subpoena for his financial records. And you said, like I've said, the Chekhov gun in this drama is the Supreme Court. Nicely done on a Chekhov reference. As a theater major, I applaud you. But
well, yes, I mean, that is, it seems inevitable. I mean, this will be appealed up to the Supreme Court. There's a question of whether they'll grant cert on it. But given right now there's, I think, about 5 or 6 ongoing cases being litigated with respect to the president having to turn things over, allow people to testify, third parties produce documents. All or some of them are likely to go to the Supreme Court where, there's going to be this real question of the moment. Does, the Mitch McConnell, Merrick Garland play and the pushing through Kavanaugh ultimately produce a situation in which the 2 Trump hand-picked members of the court provide the majority to be like, nope, he doesn't have to turn things over.
Yeah. No, by the way, I have a question. I don't know if you know the answer to this, just on a related. So Trump's Deutsche Bank has told an appeals court it does not have Trump's personal tax returns. Does that seem fishy to you? They gave him a how many billion or $1 million loan and they don't have his tax returns?
Yeah, the reporter yesterday, I'm sure you saw the reporter from the New York Times who posted a WhatsApp text he had with a former Deutsche Bank official on that, who said the F word, holy F word, in response to finding out that they're reporting that. And yes, that's weird. That's very weird. Look, it's very clear. I mean, it's very clear that they want nothing. The one thing that they're the most worried about are the taxes. I mean, that's it's like they're pointing a bigger arrow, like looking here, because the way that they act around the tax returns, I mean, from the campaign when he wouldn't turn them over to now the incredible length they've gone to and the arguments they've made in court, which if you look at are truly wild arguments. They are clearly freaked out at the prospect of anyone getting the taxes. And if they had some special arrangement with Deutsche Bank such that, they couldn't retain a copy, that is only further indication of how worried they are about them.
Yeah. So, Chris, as you tweeted, this whole scheme looks more and more like con men conning con men who happen to run the most powerful government in world history. I mean, I keep saying this over and over, but doesn't it all start to feel like one story? I mean, what is your take on this latest craziness of these guys arrested?
Lev and Igor? Our buddies Lev and Igor?
Yeah. Yes, Igor, yes. I can help you with that hump.
You know that I'm sure you've talked about Fraud Guarantee, but my favorite part of it is that I think Lev owns a club in Odessa called Mafia Rave.
Yes.
I learned that from you, Chris, as I do most things. Yes.
So, I think here's the one story. Well, I'd say there's 3 stories. The first story is that the President of the United States is incapable at almost a cellular level of understanding his job as being about representing a public trust and representing the country as a whole rather than his own particular interests. Like I think that's literally in an almost like deep psychological way, he cannot understand that there's a difference and that his job is to represent the country and not what's best for Donald Trump. So that story, that cascades for everything. The second story is that he and the people around him for years have operated at the margins of the law. Michael Cohen is a great example of that Michael Cohen was a bagman, the fixer, and that's different than a lawyer. Mm-hmm. Michael Cohen wasn't really representing him in the legal sense. Michael Cohen's job was to navigate, there's crimes on one hand and there's fully legal behavior on the other. And where the two meet up, there's a long gray zone that is just like sketchy behavior. And that's the place that the Trump org and Trump himself and his family have operated for, decades. I mean, that's not a controversial thing to say. The New York Times reporting on the business record and David Fairnhold. So you combine the fact that the guy doesn't understand that he cannot represent the United States as an entity distinct from himself, that the means by which he has for 4 or 5 decades pursued his self-interest is skirting over and back through the boundaries of the law. And then the third part of it, which I think is important, is that Rudy Giuliani and the president both consume an intellectual and informational diet of nothing but essentially right-wing propaganda.
Right.
And that makes them easy marks.
Yeah, and as you say, we're watching Rudy take the fall in real time, which is hilarious.
Right, and I think here's the thing that's so crazy. I think if you gave Rudy Giuliani and Donald Trump a truth serum or a lie detector test, they believe all this stuff. I mean, I honestly think what they're doing is wrong and bad, but I also think that their informational ecosystem, their informational diet is so filled with junk food and trash that they think there's some grand conspiracy. They think that Masha Yovanovitch was out to get them. And that makes them easy marks for people like our buddies Lev and Igor who are
they're feeding them junk. I mean, Chris, you and I are seeing the President of the United States use the Attorney General of the United States and a personal attorney to use the entire United States government and taxpayer money to chase crazy conspiracy theories around the world. I have to ask you quick, because we got to get to your plug. Do you and Rachel Maddow have a nervous breakdown behind the scenes at MSNBC because of the breaking news every day like we do? What is it like?
It has been a weird combination of adrenaline and fatigue, I think.
Yes.
Just trying to, keep up. There's an adrenalizing, as I'm sure you feel that too. It feels really important, the work.
Yes.
Particularly clarity.
It's bracing, isn't it? This constitutional crisis.
And I think the clarity is really important for people to understand what's actually happening.
And Chris does not have enough work, so he will be in LA on October 21st for a live event. Fantastic. Why is this happening? His fantastic podcast, the podcast tour. We have links up to get your tickets.
Yep.
Hurry, get them. They're going fast. Chris, can't wait. I hope I get to see you when you're out here.
Yeah, please come out. It's going to be fun.
All right. Thanks, Chris.